Leo Brayson's calloused hands moved across the wooden surface. The toy chest beneath his fingers took shape gradually, each detail meticulously carved and smoothed. In his workshop, surrounded by the scent of sawdust and varnish, he found peace, the same peace that eluded him at home. The high-pitched giggle filtered through the workshop's walls. His wife's laughter. Once that sound had filled him with joy. Now it made his stomach clench. Leo set down his tools and checked his watch. 7:45 p.m. Claire would be leaving soon for another business dinner with Even. The thought of his supposed best friend made his jaw tighten. He heard the click of heels on the driveway. Unable to resist, Leo moved to the workshop window. Claire emerged from their house, dressed in a form-fitting black dress he'd never seen before. Her hair was styled differently, makeup perfectly applied. She hadn't dressed up like that for him in years. "You're being paranoid," he muttered to himself, though the gnawing feeling in his gut told him otherwise. The sound of a car door slamming drew his attention. Tessa, their 17-year-old daughter, stormed up the driveway, her face twisted in its perpetual scowl. "Mom, you're going out again." Tessa's voice carried clearly through the evening air. "Yes, honey, business dinner with Even. There are leftovers in the fridge." "Whatever. Not like Dad's gonna come in from his precious workshop anyway." Leo's hands clenched around his workbench. When had his daughter started speaking about him with such contempt? He watched Claire kiss Tessa's cheek before climbing into her car. As the vehicle disappeared down the street, Leo returned to the toy chest. His nephew's baby shower was approaching, and he wanted this gift to be perfect. An hour later, he heard the house door open and close. Footsteps approached the workshop. "Dad," Tessa's voice dripped with annoyance. "Mom said to remind you about dinner." Leo wiped his hands on his apron and turned. "Actually, I wanted to show you something, Tessa." He gestured to the toy chest. The wood gleamed under the workshop lights, intricate patterns carved along its edges. "What do you think?" "It's for your cousin's baby." Tessa glanced at it, her expression unchanged. "It's just a box, Dad. You could have bought one at Target for, like, $20. Each piece is hand-carved," Leo explained, running his fingers over the detailed woodland scene he'd created. "See these animals? They tell a story." "God, Dad, I don't care about your stupid wooden boxes." Tessa threw up her hands. "This is why Mom's always so bored. You never do anything interesting. You just hide out here playing with wood all day." The words struck like physical blows, but Leo kept his expression neutral. "Tessa, save it. I'm going to my room." She spun on her heel and stalked away, leaving Leo alone with his thoughts and his work. Later that night, Leo sat in his workshop, staring at his phone. A text notification had popped up on Claire's linked tablet. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was amazing. 20 years of marriage. 20 years of building a life together." And this was how it ended, with a text message from his best friend to his wife. Leo's mind drifted to their early days. He'd been young, ambitious, with nothing but his tools and a dream of building beautiful things. Claire had loved that about him then. She'd sit in his tiny workshop for hours, watching him work, planning their future together. A memory surfaced. Claire at 19, her eyes bright with dreams of escape from their small town. "We'll make it big together, Leo," she'd said. "You and me against the world." The irony tasted bitter now. His phone buzzed. A text from Rob. "Beer tomorrow." Leo typed back. "Sure. Need to talk anyway." He set the phone down and looked at the toy chest. Such a simple thing, really, a box to hold treasures, built with love and care. He'd thought that was enough. Being a good man, a skilled craftsman, a provider. Now he wondered if it had ever been enough for Claire. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway drew his attention. Leo checked the time. 11:30 p.m. He heard Claire's distinctive laugh again, accompanied by a deeper voice. Even's voice. Leo remained still, listening as car doors opened and closed, the murmur of voices, another laugh, then the sound of a single set of footsteps entering the house. He picked up his tools and resumed work on the toy chest. Each stroke of the sandpaper was measured, controlled, like his anger, like his pain, like the plans already forming in his mind. They thought him simple, a quiet craftsman who wouldn't notice their betrayal, who wouldn't understand, who wouldn't retaliate. They were wrong. Leo worked late into the night, his movements precise and purposeful. The toy chest took shape beneath his hands, becoming something beautiful, something perfect. Unlike his marriage, unlike his family, unlike the facade of friendship Even had maintained while destroying everything Leo held dear. As he applied the final touches to the woodland scene, Leo allowed himself a small smile. They would learn soon enough. The quiet craftsman had teeth, and he knew exactly how to use them. He picked up his phone and opened his banking app. Time to start moving pieces on the board. They wanted to play games. Fine, but they'd learned that Leo Bryson played to win. And he never, ever forgave a betrayal. The bell above Rob's hardware store door chimed as Leo entered. The familiar scent of metal and wood greeted him, along with Rob's booming voice from behind the counter. "Leo, just the man I needed to see. Got a shipment of that oak you wanted." Leo nodded to his friend, noting the early morning quiet of the store. Perfect. He needed privacy for this conversation. "Rob, got a minute?" Something in Leo's tone made Rob's smile fade. He gestured toward his office. "Coffee's fresh." In the cramped back office, Leo sat heavily in the worn leather chair. Rob closed the door and leaned against his desk, waiting. "Claire's having an affair." Leo's voice was flat, emotionless. "With Even." Rob's coffee cup clattered against the desk. "What? No. That's Even's your best friend." "Was." Leo pulled out his phone, showing Rob the text messages he'd discovered. "Been going on for months, best I can tell." "Jesus Christ." Rob ran a hand through his graying hair. "Leo, I'm so sorry. What are you gonna do?" Leo's lips curved in a cold smile. "First, I need information. Tell me what you know about Even's real estate dealings. The Creekside Estates development. He's been bragging about it at the club. Says it's his biggest deal yet." And Rob shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I've heard rumors, nothing concrete, but people say his numbers don't add up." "Why?" "Because," Leo stood, his voice terrifyingly calm, "I'm going to destroy him. Not just for the affair. For everything. Leo, he's been in my house, Rob, pretending to be my friend while sleeping with my wife. And my daughter." Leo's knuckles whitened. Tessa looks at him like he's some kind of hero. Rob watched his friend carefully. "You're not planning anything stupid, are you?" "No, nothing stupid. Nothing illegal." Leo's smile didn't reach his eyes. Just justice. The conversation shifted as customers entered the store. Leo helped Rob with the morning rush, his movements automatic as his mind worked through his plans. By noon, he was pulling into the school parking lot. Rose's familiar figure waited by the library entrance, her arms crossed. "You sounded serious on the phone," she said as Leo approached. "What's wrong?" Inside the library, surrounded by books and silence, Leo told his sister everything. Rose listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with each revelation. "I should have seen it," she finally said, "the way Claire's been acting. The expensive clothes, the late nights. I need your advice, Rose, not about what to do. I know what needs to be done, but about protecting myself legally." Rose's eyes narrowed. "What are you planning?" "Nothing they can prove." Leo's voice was soft. "But I need to know how to separate our finances without raising suspicion. How to protect what I've built." "Leo." Rose grabbed his hand. "Don't let this turn you into someone you're not. I'm already not who I was." He squeezed her hand before letting go. They saw to that. That afternoon, Leo returned home early. He moved through the house silently, examining, documenting, credit card statements, bank records, property deeds. His fingers flew over his phone's calculator as he added up the numbers. In Claire's closet, he found shopping bags stuffed with recent purchases, designer clothes with tags still attached. In Tessa's room, a new laptop she claimed to need for school sat unopened, paid for with his credit card. Leo photographed everything before returning items exactly as he found them. In his workshop, he created a detailed spreadsheet of expenses, assets, and debts. The picture it painted was clear. While he'd been building his business, they'd been building debt. A memory surfaced, even at their dinner table last month, talking about his latest real estate venture. "It's all about leverage," he'd said, winking at Claire, "using other people's money to build your dreams." Leo's phone buzzed, a text from his lawyer confirming tomorrow's appointment. He'd chosen someone from 2 towns over, someone who didn't golf with Even or attend Claire's charity functions. The sound of Claire's car pulling into the driveway broke his concentration. Leo quickly saved his files to a secure cloud account and closed his laptop. "Honey," Claire's voice called out, "are you home early?" "In the workshop," he answered, his voice betraying nothing of what he knew, what he planned. Claire appeared in the doorway, wearing a new dress he hadn't seen before. Her smile faltered slightly when she saw him working. "Still at that toy chest. Even was asking if you'd join us for dinner tonight. He's got some exciting news about the Creekside Estates project." "Can't tonight," Leo replied, carefully sanding a joint. "Too much work." "You always say that." Claire's voice held a note of reproach. "Sometimes I think you love this workshop more than your family." Leo looked up, meeting her eyes. "Do you really want to have that conversation, Claire?" Something in his tone made her step back. I should get ready for dinner." After she left, Leo remained in his workshop, listening to the sounds of his wife preparing for another evening with his former best friend. His hands never stopped working, even as his mind calculated and planned. They thought him blind, thought him weak, a simple craftsman too absorbed in his work to notice their betrayal. Soon they'd learn just how wrong they were. Later, the dining room table stretched between them like a battlefield. Leo sat at one end, divorce papers laid out before him. Claire stood at the other, her face flushed with anger. "How dare you?" She slapped her hand on the table. "After 20 years, this is how you treat me." Leo's voice remained steady. "How I treat you? Interesting choice of words, Claire. What's that supposed to mean? Why don't you ask Even?" Leo watched the color drain from her face. "Or better yet, let's look at your text messages together." "You went through my phone." Claire's voice rose an octave. "You had no right." "No right." Leo's laugh held no humor. "I had every right. I'm your husband. Or did you forget that between your dinner dates with my best friend?" The front door slammed. Tessa stormed into the dining room, her face twisted with rage. "What did you do to Mom?" "Stay out of this, Tessa," Leo warned. "No, I won't let you bully her." Tessa moved to stand beside Claire. "You're such a disappointment. Mom's been trapped in this house for 20 years while you chase success. Of course she fell for your best friend. He actually makes her feel beautiful, unlike you." Each word struck like a physical blow, but Leo's expression remained unchanged. Tessa wasn't finished. "I'm glad she found someone who knows how to love her. He's been the real father figure in this house. I hope they get married after the divorce. You're nothing but a bank account to us." The silence that followed was deafening. Leo stood slowly, gathering the divorce papers. "Thank you, Tessa," he said quietly. "That's exactly what I needed to hear." "What's that supposed to mean?" Claire demanded. "It means I now know exactly where I stand with both of you." He moved toward the door, then paused. "Oh, and Claire, you might want to check your credit cards. They seem to have stopped working." He left them standing in the dining room, their angry voices following him to his workshop. Inside, he pulled out his phone and dialed Rob's number. "It's done." he said when Rob answered. They showed their true colors, just like you said they would. You okay? Rob's concern was evident. Better than okay. For the first time in months, I know exactly what I need to do. Leo's voice hardened. They want to treat me like a bank account. But they're about to learn that every account can be closed. Later that evening, Leo sat in his truck outside Le Chalet, an overpriced French restaurant where Claire and Yvonne often met. Through the window, he could see them at their usual table, heads close together, laughing. His phone buzzed with a text from his lawyer. Papers filed. She'll be served tomorrow. Leo watched as Evan reached across the table to take Claire's hand. They thought they were celebrating their freedom, their future together. They had no idea what was coming. Another buzz from his phone. A message from his bank. The transfers were complete. His separate accounts were set up. Years of careful saving and reinvesting in his business had prepared him for this moment. They saw him as nothing but a provider, a bank account. Then he'd show them exactly what happens when the provider decides to stop providing. Leo started his truck and pulled away from the restaurant. In his rearview mirror, he could see Claire and Yvonne through the window, still laughing, still planning their future together. Let them laugh. Let them plan. They'd learn soon enough that betrayal carries a price, and Leo Brayson always collected his debts. The next morning, Leo arrived early at his workshop. He had orders to fill, projects to complete. Life didn't stop just because his marriage had imploded. His phone rang. Rob again. Claire's been served, Rob said without preamble. She's at my store right now, making a scene. Says you can't do this to her. Leo continued working as he spoke. What exactly did she say? That you're being unreasonable. That she deserves half of everything. That you owe her for all the years she supported your dream. Supported my dream. Leo's laugh was harsh. While spending my money on designer clothes and secret dates with Yvonne, she's threatening to take you for everything. Let her try. Leo set down his tools. They think they know me, Rob. Think they know what I'm capable of. But they have no idea. What's your next move? Leo looked at the divorce papers on his desk, at the carefully crafted clauses his lawyer had inserted. Now he watched them realize exactly what they've lost. The sound of tires on gravel announced Claire's return. Leo could hear her heels clicking angrily toward the workshop. I have to go, he told Rob. Time to start the next phase. He ended the call just as Claire burst through the door, divorce papers clutched in her hand, face red with fury. You bastard. You think you can just throw me away like this? Leo turned to face her, his expression cold. No, Claire, you did the throwing away. I'm just making it official. I'll fight you for everything. These papers are a joke. They're legal and binding. Leo stepped closer, his voice dropping. You wanted Yvonne. You've got him. But you don't get to keep what I've built while you're playing house with my former best friend. You can't do this to me. I already have. Leo turned back to his workbench. Close the door on your way out. Some of us still have work to do. Claire's scream of frustration echoed through the workshop as she stormed out. Leo remained at his bench, his hand steady as he worked. Let her scream. Let her threaten. Let her run to Yvonne for comfort. The trap was set. The pieces were in motion. And Leo Brayson never started a game he couldn't win. What do you mean there's nothing? Claire's voice echoed through the lawyer's office. He can't do this. Her lawyer, Mr. Palmer, adjusted his glasses and reviewed the documents again. Ms. Bryson, I'm afraid your husband has been quite thorough. Thorough. Claire slammed her hand on the desk. He's trying to steal everything. Legally speaking, he hasn't stolen anything. Palmer spread out several papers. The business was incorporated in his name alone. The house was transferred to a trust 6 months ago. Your joint accounts were closed, with funds moved to accounts solely in his name. That's impossible. I would have noticed. Would you? Palmer's tone was pointed. When was the last time you reviewed your financial statements? Claire fell silent. She couldn't remember. Furthermore, Palmer continued, most of these transfers were done with your signature. What? I never signed anything. Actually, he pulled out several documents. These home improvement contracts you signed, the refinancing papers for the business expansion, they included clauses about asset transfer. Claire stared at her signature on page after page. She remembered Leo asking her to sign them, explaining they were routine business matters. She'd been too busy planning her next meeting with Evan to read them. In the waiting room, Tessa paced anxiously. When Claire emerged, her daughter pounced. Well, what did he say? How much are we getting? Claire's face was ashen. Nothing. We're getting nothing. That's not possible. Tessa grabbed the papers from her mother's hands. What about my college fund? My car? Gone. All of it. He can't do this. Tessa's voice rose to a shriek. This isn't fair. A deep voice behind them said, life rarely is. They turned to find Leo standing in the doorway, impeccably dressed in a suit they'd never seen before. You bastard. Claire hissed. You planned this all along. No, Claire, you planned this. You and Evan. Leo's voice was calm, almost gentle. I just decided to change the ending. Mom. Tessa pointed at her phone. Evan's not answering my calls. His office number is disconnected. Leo's lips curved slightly. Interesting timing. I heard the SEC is looking into some of his development projects. Apparently, there are irregularities. What did you do? Claire's voice trembled. Me? Nothing illegal. Unlike your boyfriend's creative accounting practices, Leo checked his watch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with the bank. About foreclosure proceedings. Foreclosure. Claire's knees weakened. On what? The house, of course, since you refused my generous offer to buy you out. That wasn't an offer. Tessa screamed. You wanted us to sign away our rights for pennies. Those pennies are looking pretty good right now, aren't they? Leo turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Tessa, you might want to start job hunting. I heard the mall is hiring. He left them standing in the lawyer's office, their world crumbling around them. Across town, in a dimly lit bar, Evan stared at his phone in disbelief. His accounts were frozen, his office was sealed, his clients were fleeing. Another. The bartender gestured at his empty glass. Make it a double. Evan loosened his tie. How had it all unraveled so quickly? His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your email. With trembling fingers, Evan opened his inbox. There it was. Documentation of all his fraudulent deals, his manipulated numbers, his misappropriated funds, copied to the SEC, the police, and his investors. No, he whispered. No, no, no. His phone buzzed again. Claire. Evan. Her voice was frantic. What's happening? Leo was just here. He said something about the SEC. He knew. Evan cut her off. He knew everything, Claire. The Creekside Estate scam, the fake investors, all of it. What are you talking about? I'm ruined. Evan's voice broke. And it's all your fault. My fault. You pursued me. And you were foolish enough to fall for it. Just like you were foolish enough to sign those papers without reading them. The line went dead. Evan looked up to find two men in suits entering the bar. Mr. Kingsley. One held up a badge. We need you to come with us. Back at the lawyer's office, Claire and Tessa sat shell-shocked as Palmer explained their options. The house must be vacated within 30 days. Your credit cards have been canceled. The joint accounts are empty. He sighed. Ms. Bryson, I strongly advise you to accept any settlement he offers. I won't give him the satisfaction. Claire spat. Mom. Tessa's voice cracked. We have nowhere to go. Your father planned this. Claire said bitterly. He wanted us desperate. Palmer shuffled his papers. Actually, Ms. Bryson, reviewing these documents, your husband didn't just plan this. He orchestrated it with a precision that's almost admirable. Admirable. Claire laughed harshly. He's destroying us. No, Palmer corrected gently. He's letting you destroy yourselves, with your own choices. He closed his folder. I recommend finding a good bankruptcy attorney. As they left the office, Tessa turned on her mother. This is your fault. You and your stupid affair ruined everything. Don't you dare blame me. You were just as horrible to him as I was. Their argument echoed through the parking lot, watched by a figure in a nearby car. Leo sat quietly, observing their disintegration with detached interest. His phone buzzed. A message from Detective Rayholt. Need to discuss Evan Kingsley's case. When can you come in? Leo started his car, a slight smile playing on his lips. Phase 1 was complete. Now for Phase 2. They wanted to treat him like an ATM. Fine. But ATMs could be closed, accounts emptied, and betrayal came with compound interest. Detective Holt leaned back in his chair, studying the man seated across from him. Leo Bryson's calm demeanor didn't match someone whose life had recently imploded. Mr. Bryson, these allegations against Evan Kingsley are serious. They should be. Leo pushed a folder across the desk. The evidence is solid. Bank statements, forged documents, shell companies. Evan was quite busy. Holt opened the folder. How did you get these? I've known Evan for 20 years. Leo's voice held no emotion. Been his friend, his confidant. And you kept records. I'm a careful man, detective. I believe in being prepared. Holt studied the documents. This will destroy him. He destroyed himself. I'm just providing the evidence. The detective's eyes narrowed. This feels personal, Mr. Bryson. Does it? Evan defrauded dozens of investors, ruined lives. That's what should feel personal. And the fact that he was sleeping with your wife is irrelevant to his crimes. Leo stood. Would that be all? Holt watched him leave, noting his steady stride, his controlled movements. This was not a man acting on mere emotion. This was calculation, pure and simple. At Leo's workshop, the morning passed quietly until the bell chimed. Claire stood in the doorway, wearing a dress he remembered buying her last Christmas. Can we talk? He continued working. About. I've been thinking. She moved closer, her perfume filling the air. Maybe we can work this out. For Tessa's sake. Interesting timing. Leo set down his tools. Nothing to do with Evan's arrest. Don't be like that. She touched his arm. We have history, Leo, 20 years of marriage, which you threw away for a con man. He removed her hand. How's that working out? Please. Her voice cracked. I made a mistake. We both did things we regret. No, Claire, you made choices. Now you're facing consequences. He turned back to his work. Close the door on your way out. You heartless bastard. She grabbed a wooden figurine from his workbench and hurled it at the wall. You're enjoying this. Actually, I'm not. Leo said quietly. I'm simply ensuring justice is served. Justice. She laughed bitterly. You call destroying our lives justice. Your life isn't destroyed, Claire. It's just not the one you wanted. He met her eyes. Now leave, before I call the police about trespassing. As Claire stormed out, Leo's phone buzzed with a notification. A video was trending on social media. Tessa in the mall parking lot, screaming at someone filming her. Do you know who I am? Her voice shrieked from the phone. My father owns half this town. Not anymore. Someone replied off camera. Heard your dad cut you off. Karma's tough. Right. The video continued, showing Tessa's meltdown in full detail, savage comments pouring in. Leo closed the app. His daughter was learning a harsh lesson about reputation, about consequences. Across town, Evan paced his apartment, phone pressed to his ear. What do you mean you're pulling out? The Creekside Estates project is solid. Is it? The investor's voice was cold. Because I'm looking at documents that say otherwise. Goodbye, Mr. Kingsley. Evans' phone beeped. Another investor gone. They were fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. A knock at his door made him jump. 2 uniformed officers stood outside. Mr. Kingsley, we have some questions about Creekside Estates. As they led him away, Evan caught sight of a familiar truck parked across the street. Leo sat behind the wheel, watching. Later that evening, Leo visited the property that had been Evan's dream project. The Creekside Estates sign lay fallen, the land untouched. His phone rang. The real estate agent. Mr. Bryson, the purchase is complete. The property's yours. Thank you. Leo surveyed the land. I think it'll make a nice nature preserve, don't you? He ended the call and stared at the setting sun. People were gathering at the police station, investors and homeowners who'd trusted Evan Kingsley. Their angry voices carried on the wind. Leo's phone buzzed again. A news alert. Local real estate developer arrested on fraud charges. He read the article carefully. His name wasn't mentioned, but his fingerprints were all over Evan's downfall, just as he'd planned. The sound of police sirens filled the air. More charges, more evidence. The house of cards was falling, and Evan Kingsley was buried in the rubble. Leo started his truck, heading home. There was still work to do, projects to complete. Life continued, even as others' worlds crumbled. They thought him blind, thought him weak. A simple craftsman who couldn't possibly understand their sophisticated games. They were learning differently now. Learning that true sophistication lay not in charm, but in patience, in precision, in the careful dismantling of lives built on lies. You're not welcome here anymore. Evelyn Gray's voice cut through the country club's dining room. I think it's best you leave, Claire. Claire clutched her handbag tighter. Evelyn, please. We've been friends for 15 years. Friends don't lie to friends. Evelyn turned away. And they certainly don't bring their lovers to dinner parties while their husbands work late. The whispers followed Claire as she fled the club. Her phone showed dozens of unanswered messages, all from Tessa. At home. An apartment now. She found her daughter waiting. Where have you been? Tessa's fast food uniform was stained with grease. The bank froze my cards. I couldn't even buy lunch. Not now, Tessa. Yes, now. Tessa blocked her path. This is your fault. You and your stupid affair ruined everything. Don't you dare blame me. You were right there with me, spending his money, treating him like dirt. Because you taught me to. Tessa's voice cracked. You made me think Dad was nothing but a boring old man who held us back. But he was the one holding us up, wasn't he? And now? A knock at the door interrupted them. A man in a suit stood outside, holding papers. Ms. Bryson. Eviction notice. You have 30 days. Across town, in his workshop, Leo ran sandpaper over a new project. The rhythmic motion calmed him, helped him think. The bell chimed. Rose entered, concern etched on her face. You bought the house. She didn't wait for an answer. Leo, they're your family. We're my family. He continued working. Now they're just people who betrayed me. This isn't you. Rose touched his arm. The brother I know. The brother you knew died the moment his wife and daughter proved they saw him as nothing but a wallet. Leo set down his tools. Don't ask me to be someone I'm not anymore. Rose, I'm worried about you. This coldness, this calculation, it's changing you. Good. Leo met her eyes. The old me was weak, trusting. He let people take advantage of his kindness. And this new you, the one who puts women and children out on the street. They put themselves there, with their choices, their actions, their betrayal. Leo turned back to his work. I'm just making sure they understand the cost. That evening, Rob visited, finding Leo in his usual spot, working late. Heard about Evan's arrest, Rob said. And the eviction notice. News travels fast. People are scared of you, Leo. The way you dismantle their lives. They dismantled their own lives. Leo's voice was flat. I just removed the safety net. You've changed. Rob studied his friend. The Leo I knew is gone. Leo set down his tools. That Leo believed in second chances, in forgiveness. He believed family meant something. And this new Leo, Rob asked, believes in justice. Leo's smile held no warmth. Cold, clean justice. A buzz from Leo's phone interrupted them. An anonymous message containing photos of Claire and Evan at restaurants, hotels, secret meetings. A note attached. Do you like being betrayed? Leo's smile widened slightly. Something amusing? Rob asked, just appreciating irony. Leo pocketed the phone. How are the hardware store's new suppliers working out? Rob recognized the deflection but didn't push. This new Leo, this cold, calculating version of his friend, unnerved him. The transformation was complete, irreversible. I hate you. Tessa hurled a vase at the wall. You ruined my life. I ruined your life. You spoiled, ungrateful. Mom, look at us now. Tessa's mascara streaked her face with tears. Living in this dump, working minimum wage jobs, while Dad's probably in his workshop, creating beautiful things, not giving us a second thought. At that moment, Leo was indeed in his workshop, reviewing paperwork. The sale of the house was complete. His lawyer had drafted a letter authorizing a substantial anonymous donation to the local women's shelter. His phone buzzed. Detective Holt again. Those photos you received, the anonymous ones of Claire and Evan. Interesting timing, wouldn't you say? Was there something specific you needed, Detective? A pause. You don't seem surprised by them, or concerned about who sent them. Should I be? Leo asked calmly. Most people would want to know who's watching them, who's following their spouse, taking pictures. Most people aren't dealing with what I'm dealing with. Another pause. We'll talk again. Leo ended the call and returned to his paperwork. The detective's suspicions meant nothing. There would be no evidence to find. His phone buzzed again. Hillview Motel's manager. Sir, your wife is asking about extending their stay. She's 3 days behind on payment. Leo didn't respond. Let them feel the bite of poverty. Let them understand what it meant to have nothing. Across town, Tessa stood behind the Burger Shack counter, her face burning as former classmates snickered at her uniform. Welcome to Burger Shack, she muttered. May I take your order? Oh my God, it really is her, one girl whispered loudly. The princess is flipping burgers. Guess Daddy's money ran out. Another laughed. What happened, Tessa? No more designer bags. Tessa's hands shook as she punched in their order, each snide comment driving home the reality of her new life. Her manager, a pimply 20-year-old who once might have worshipped her, barked orders. Pick up the pace, princess. Those fries won't cook themselves. After her shift, she walked 3 miles back to the motel. No car, no rides. Her phone was filled with social media notifications, each one a fresh humiliation. At the Hillview Motel, Claire typed another message to Leo. The manager's threatening to evict us. Please, Leo, just talk to me. The message marked as read, but no response came. Back in his workshop, Leo reviewed the house sale documents one final time. The shelter would put the money to good use, helping women who truly needed it. His phone rang. The motel manager again. Mr. Bryson, I hate to bother you, but your wife is becoming difficult. She's demanding to speak with you. You have my instructions. No extensions. No exceptions. Yes, sir. And if they can't pay by Friday, they'll need to find other accommodations. Leo ended the call and picked up a chisel. The wood beneath his hands took shape, each cut precise, controlled, like his revenge. His phone buzzed with a notification. Another social media post about Tessa. He didn't need to read it. Her public humiliation was complete, her entitled worldview shattered. The sounds of his tools filled the workshop as darkness fell, while in the distance, a police siren wailed, probably another visit to Evan in prison. Leo's phone lit up with a final message from the motel. Your wife says she has nowhere else to go. Should I call social services? He stared at it for a long moment before typing his response. Do what you need to do. They had made their choices. Now they could live with them. He returned to his work, the wood taking shape beneath his hands, becoming something new, something strong, just like him. Leo Brayson pulled into the Hillview Motel parking lot, his truck's headlights illuminating the dingy facade of room 113. His phone displayed Claire's desperate message. Please come. I need to see you. Inside, Claire jumped at his knock. When she opened the door, her appearance shocked even him. Designer clothes replaced by discount store wear, perfectly styled hair now limp and unkempt. Leo, her voice trembled. You came. He stepped inside, taking in the cramped room with its peeling wallpaper and stained carpet. A half-eaten fast food meal sat on the nightstand. Why am I here, Claire? She moved closer. I've been thinking about us, about everything. We could start over. I know I made mistakes. Mistakes. Leo's voice remained flat. You didn't misfile our taxes or forget an anniversary. You destroyed our family. I know, but where's Tessa? At work. Claire's face crumpled. She hates it there. The other kids are cruel to her. Life is cruel to those who aren't prepared for it. Please, she grabbed his arm. We can fix this. I'll do anything. Leo removed her hand. There's nothing to fix. You chose Evan. You chose luxury over loyalty. You chose to treat me like a bank account instead of a husband. I was wrong. She reached out again. Yes, you were. He moved toward the door. And now you're living with those choices. That's it. Tears streaked her makeup. 20 years of marriage, and you just walk away. No, Claire, you walked away. I'm just making sure you reach your destination. He left her sobbing in the motel room, her cries echoing across the parking lot. The prison visiting room buzzed with tension as Leo sat across from Evan. The once charming real estate developer had wilted behind bars, designer suits replaced by a prison uniform. Leo, Evan's voice shook. I didn't expect. To see me. To face consequences. To lose everything. Leo leaned forward. Which part surprised you, Evan? Look, I know what I did was wrong. Do you? Leo's tone was icy. Because I'm not here for apologies. I'm here to make something clear. Evan's facade cracked. You destroyed me. No. Your greed destroyed you. Your lies destroyed you. I just made sure everyone saw who you really are. I'll get out eventually. Into what? Leo smiled coldly. Your business is gone. Your reputation is ruined. Your investors want blood. You'll spend the rest of your life paying for what you've done. You're enjoying this. Actually, I'm not. I don't feel anything for you anymore. Leo stood. You're just another failed project. Detective Holt sat in Leo's workshop, watching him work. Those photos, those anonymous messages, the timing of Kingsley's downfall. It's quite a coincidence. Life is full of them. You don't seem worried about someone stalking your ex-wife. No, I'm not. Because you know who sent them. Leo met his gaze. Do you have evidence suggesting otherwise? Holt sighed. No, and I probably never will. You're thorough, I'll give you that. I'm just a craftsman, detective, Leo said. I build things. Sometimes I take them apart. After Holt left, Rob and Rose arrived. They found Leo packing his tools. You're really leaving? Rose asked. There's nothing here for me anymore, he said quietly. There's us, Rob said. Your friends, your family. Leo paused, his hands on a wooden box. You've seen what I've become, what they made me become. Leo, Rose touched his shoulder, tears in her eyes. The pain in you is done. He turned to face them. I'm not who I was. That man died the night he read those text messages. And this new version, Rob asked. The one who orchestrated all this is at peace with his choices. Leo resumed packing. Just like they'll have to be with theirs. Rose hugged him suddenly. I understand why you did it. But I miss my brother. He missed you too. Leo's voice softened slightly. That's why I'm leaving. The man you want me to be. He's gone. Rob helped him load the last boxes into his truck. The library got your donation. Rose's book program will help a lot of kids. Good. Leo closed the truck's tailgate. At least something positive came from all this. He drove away, catching a final glimpse of his workshop in the rearview mirror, the place where he built beautiful things, where he'd also crafted his revenge with the same precision he applied to his woodwork. They thought him weak, thought him blind, thought him incapable of fighting back. They learned differently now, learned that true strength lay not in flashy shows of power, but in quiet, relentless execution of justice. 3 years later, the workshop hummed with activity as Leo guided his apprentice's hands over the wood. Feel the grain. Let it tell you which way to cut. Sunlight streamed through large windows, illuminating rows of beautifully crafted furniture. Leo's new studio had become known for its exceptional pieces, each bearing his distinctive mark of precision and care. His phone buzzed. A message from Rob. Holt retired last month. Still talks about your case. Says it was the one that got away. Leo smiled slightly. The detective had never stopped suspecting, never stopped searching for proof. He'd found none, of course. Leo hadn't survived betrayal by being careless. Another message. Rose, the library's children's wing is thriving. Your donation changed lives, brother. Leo set the phone aside and returned to his work. The past was another country now, one he'd left behind in that small town with its bitter memories and broken promises. His apprentice looked up. Mr. Bryson, someone's here to see you. A man in a police uniform stood in the doorway. Holt, now retired but still carrying himself like a detective. Nice place, Holt said, looking around. You've done well for yourself. What brings you here, detective? Just Holt now, the man said with a shrug. Retired last month. He picked up a small wooden box. Beautiful work. You didn't drive 6 hours to admire my craftsmanship. Holt set down the box. Heard about your ex-wife and daughter. They're still struggling, working dead-end jobs, living in a cheap apartment. Their choices, their consequences. And Kingsley. He'll be in prison another 17 years. Justice system works sometimes. Holt studied him. You know, I never found proof about those photos, those messages, but we both know. Leo's gaze was steady. I'm just a craftsman, Holt. A man who builds beautiful things and destroys them too when necessary. Was there something specific you needed? The former detective shook his head. Just wanted to see for myself how you're living with it all. I live fine. The question is, how do they live with their choices? After Holt left, Leo checked his messages again. Another one from Claire, marked unread like all the others. I saw your work in a magazine. You're famous now. Please, Leo, we need help. He deleted it without reading, just like all the others. His phone rang. A client wanting to commission a piece. As he discussed designs and materials, Leo's hands moved over a piece of maple, feeling its strength, its potential. Later that evening, in his office, he wrote a letter. Dear Rob and Rose, I hope this finds you both well. The business is thriving, and I found peace in my new life. The man you knew died 3 years ago, but perhaps this new version isn't entirely without merit. I won't be coming back. That chapter is closed. But know that you both meant everything to me, and that your understanding made my transformation possible. Take care of each other. Leo. He sealed the envelope, his last connection to his old life. The man who trusted blindly, loved deeply, and had been betrayed completely was gone. In his place stood someone stronger, who'd learned that true justice wasn't about revenge, but about letting people face the full weight of their choices. His phone buzzed one final time. Tessa. Dad, please. Mom's sick. We need you. Leo turned off the phone and returned to his workshop. The wood waited for his touch, ready to become something beautiful, something new. They wanted to break him. Instead, they'd forced him to rebuild himself, stronger than before. They thought him weak, a simple craftsman who would forgive and forget. They learned differently. In that learning, they'd lost everything, while he'd gained something invaluable. The knowledge that true strength lay not in forgiveness, but in the courage to let justice take its course. Leo picked up his tools and began to work. The wood shaped itself beneath his hands, becoming something new, something strong, just like him. 10 years later, Leo Bryson stood in his expansive workshop, now a renowned studio in Bayside, Maine. At 58, his hair had grayed at the temples, but his hands remained steady, his eyes sharp. The studio buzzed with activity, 6 apprentices working at various stations, each learning the precision and dedication that made Bryson Crafts a name synonymous with excellence. Mr. Bryson, his assistants, Sarah, appeared at his elbow. The gallery in Bayville called. They want to feature your work in their winter showcase. Leo nodded, running his hands over a piece of walnut. Send them the portfolio, but tell them I don't do openings. He built a new life here, far from the ashes of his old one. His work appeared in prestigious galleries, his pieces commanded premium prices, and his waiting list stretched 2 years. Success had come not from mere revenge, but from the same ruthless dedication he'd applied to dismantling his previous life. His phone buzzed. A message from Rob. You should see the library now, Leo. Rose's reading program has gone statewide. Your donations changed everything. Rob had visited twice over the years, keeping Leo informed about the town he'd left behind. He owned 3 hardware stores now, having expanded with Leo's advice before he left. Another message popped up. Holt, now fully retired. Thought you'd want to know. Kingsley is up for parole next month. Leo set down his tools. Even Kingsley. The name meant nothing to him now, just another piece of his past that had crumbled to dust. Sarah, he called, get me the parole board's contact information. One phone call would ensure Even served his full sentence, not from vengeance but from justice. Some debts required full payment. His laptop chimed with an email notification. The subject line read, Please read, Tessa Bryson. Leo clicked it, his face impassive. Dear Mr. Bryson, you probably won't read this. You haven't responded to any messages in 10 years, but I'm not writing to ask for money or help. I'm writing to say you were right. Mom died last month. Cancer. In the end, she admitted everything, how she used you, how she taught me to be entitled and cruel. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I understand now. I work as a teacher's aide, trying to help kids not become what I was. The salary barely covers rent, but it feels honest. Real. You taught me the hardest lesson of my life, and I'm finally learning from it. Tessa. Leo read the email twice before clicking delete. The lesson had been learned, but some bridges couldn't be rebuilt from ashes. His intercom buzzed. Mr. Bryson, your 4 o'clock is here. The commissioner about the courthouse restoration project. Send him in. The courthouse job would be his largest yet, chosen for his craftsmanship and absolute integrity. As he discussed the project with the commissioner, Leo's mind drifted to another courthouse years ago, where he'd begun dismantling Evan's empire. The memory held no emotion now, just acknowledgement of a task completed. Later that evening, in his penthouse overlooking the city, Leo opened a letter from Rose. Dear brother, the library's impact continues to grow. Your anonymous donations have funded literacy programs across 3 states now. Rob says I should stop being surprised by your generosity, but I remember the man you were before they betrayed you. That core of decency survived, didn't it? Even if everything else changed. I miss you. I understand why you had to leave, why you had to become someone new. But I want you to know that some of us remember who you were and understand who you've become. Holt retired last year. He still talks about your case sometimes, calls it the perfect execution of justice. He's not wrong. I heard about Claire. Cancer is a brutal way to go. Tessa struggled to pay the bills, but she refused to reach out to you again. Maybe she finally learned something about pride and consequences. Your latest piece was featured in Architectural Digest. I showed it to my students, proof that beauty can come from the hands of someone who understands both creation and destruction. Love always. Rose. Leo folded the letter carefully. Rose understood better than most how completely he'd transformed. She'd watched him dismantle his old life with the same precision he now used to create his masterpieces. His phone buzzed with a news alert. Kingsley's parole hearing scheduled. Below it, a message from his lawyer confirmed their documentation was ready. Proof Evan had tried continuing his scams from prison. Justice wasn't just punishment, it was protection, too. Leo poured himself a glass of scotch and looked out over the city. 10 years had passed since he'd executed his plan for justice. 10 years since he transformed from a trusting craftsman into someone harder, colder, more precise. The old Leo Bryson would have felt guilt about his ex-wife's death, about his daughter's struggles, would have rushed to help, to save, to forgive. But that man had died in betrayal's flames. This new version understood that actions had consequences, that choices carried weight, that justice demanded payment in full. His empire had grown from those ashes. Bryson Crafts now employed 30 people across 3 locations. His designs won awards, and his pieces graced museums. Success was its own revenge. A final message appeared on his phone. From Detective Holt. A decade later, and I still can't prove how you did it. Maybe that's for the best. Some justice works better in the shadows. Leo didn't respond. Holt had become something of a friendly adversary over the years, both men recognizing in each other a dedication to their craft, even if they operated on different edges of justice's razor. Tomorrow, he'd begin work on the courthouse restoration. His hands would shape wood into beauty, just as they'd once shaped destruction into justice. They thought him weak, a simple craftsman who would break under betrayal's weight. Instead, he'd become someone stronger, who understood that true justice wasn't about revenge, but about ensuring consequences found their mark. Claire had learned that lesson too late. Tessa had learned it through years of struggle and poverty. Even would keep learning it behind bars. And Leo. Leo had learned the most valuable lesson of all. Sometimes, the most brutal act of justice was simply stepping aside and letting people face the full weight of their choices. He returned to his workshop, where a new piece waited. The wood would become something beautiful under his hands, something lasting, like justice, like consequence, like the man he'd become. The old Leo Bryson might have forgiven them, but he wasn't that man anymore, and he never would be again.